guys, and welcome back to another video and another new split routine. Today we're going to be looking at the middle, the side split, the Chinese split, whatever you want to call it, the one where your legs go out to the side. Probably, arguably, the hardest one as well. Just like the front split routine that we posted a couple of weeks ago, this one today is going to be based off one of the workouts in my app Tribe, in which you can get access to all sorts of different workouts, from flexibility to handstands to strength. A bunch of them are free, including the fat loss and the at-home programs. Either way, link to that will be in the description down below. Otherwise, let's jump into this routine. Just a quick mention, for this routine, you're gonna want some basic equipment. I would recommend some yoga blocks, just a worthwhile investment in general. Some cushions equally would do. You're also gonna want an elevated surface. This could be the side of a sofa. I'm gonna be using a chair in this instance. Right, we're all good to go. Let's begin. We're gonna start off with the good old-fashioned hip swivels. We're just gonna drop both legs to one side, trying to keep the chest facing forward. Internal and external rotation, swivel back, swivel to the other side. Nice and simple. You've probably done this one hundreds of times before. And we're just gonna do 10 in total. Nice and slow, pause for a couple of seconds. As I said, trying to keep torso facing forwards. Just like this drill, it's a nice little easy warm up, just gets the hips rotating and moving before we jump into the main part of the workout. Today, we're gonna be following the same format as the front split routine. So we're gonna do a brief warm up. We're gonna test our side split, middle split. We're then gonna do a couple of rounds of exercises, and then we're gonna retest at the end, and we're hopefully gonna see an improvement. Obviously, we should see an improvement with doing some stretching. We're gonna see some change, but the improvement might be decent. So this is when I'd recommend perhaps having your camera ready to set some stuff up, your phone, to record the change over the session. Right, one more per side, and then we're going to come into a squat position, or as close as we can to a nice deep squat position. We're going to do some squats pikes. It's a very nice, easy method of warming up, loosening up hamstrings. So just come down, nice, as deep a squat as you can. If you're up here, absolutely fine. We can just go from this position to straight. But what we're going to think about doing is trying to keep ourselves close to the thighs when we extend up. So we're going to try and keep this contact, this gap in here as we go up. We're going to do 10 of those in total. So I think I'm on 4 or 5 now already. Doesn't need to be too precise. We're just kind of working, warming up. Again, feeling it out. Right, so just a couple more. Try and reach down into that pike position when you're at the top. Lovely. And then we're actually going to come and let those legs move out a little bit. So we're going to come into what would be, I guess, a standing sort of pancake position. And we're just going to do a couple of Cossack squats. So for a Cossack squat, we're just going to shift over, squat down to one side, keep one leg straight. This one, for some of you, might be a bit challenging. You might feel like you're coming up onto the toes a bit. It obviously isn't a Cossack squat. Ideally, you want to have it with feet flat. But in this instance, I don't think it's a bad thing. So if you're up here, that's fine. Try to sit back if you can do. We're just going to go from side to side. Just a few per side, just as a warm up. Obviously, feel free to support yourself as well with the hand. So I'm going to swap back again. And as we transition over, we're going to try and keep those hips as low as we can, going back and forth. So a few per side. I'm just going to do one more here, one more the other side. And then after this side was done, we're just going to stand up into a pancake and just let gravity do its work. We can move a little bit from side to side, just kind of feel this one out and generally get a little bit looser in the hips. And that is going to be kind of our initial warm up really for our side split. So as I said, we want to sort of look at how our progress changes over the routine, set up a camera, take a video. Ideally, putting it in a place where you can repeat for the end of the session, and let's slide out and see where things are at. So what I'd recommend doing is starting in a horse squat. So basically a nice Nice wide squat position. We're going to go through this actually later in this routine. Supported with the hands if you can do. If you need support with a little bit of a higher object, something like a chair, you can do that as well. And then from here, we're just going to let those legs slide out to the side. And we're just going to push the hips back, try to keep the chest up. And I'm going to sink down as far as feels comfortable. Now, I tend to find that out of all the ranges of motion, the side split tends to be the one that is the tightest without a warm-up. It seems to be, maybe that's personally, but a lot of people have a pretty strong nervous system tone against going down into side split. So that for me feels about max at the moment. We'll probably get a little bit deeper than that. But again, I actually had an adductor injury about 3 months ago from doing some chair splits, so I'm not going to push things today personally. Now we've got the warm-up done, we can start with the mainstay of the routine. This is when you're going to need that elevated surface. So I'm going to grab this chair. I've also got a nice comfy cushion on it, and we're actually going to do an elevated pigeon good morning. So for this one, we're going to start with the right-hand side, and we're just going to place the leg at a roughly a 90-degree angle and try and sink down into that position. Hinge forward, pull that belly button forward. As we're hinging forward and not rounding at the back, we're trying to get that rotation of the pelvis. So hinge forward, come back, support yourself as you need to with the hand. We're kind of just trying to dip in and out of what feels like maybe a max range of motion. So we're going to do 10 of these in total. I'm going to pause in the last rep for 10 seconds. Seven, 8, 9. So last one, we're just going to pause for 10 seconds, go as far forward as we can, try to sink those hips down. Another 5 seconds here. And come back up. Just going to simply swap sides now. So you're going to do left leg. Make sure we get it on top of the chair. Again, sink down into it if we need to. Again, elevate that knee. Find a comfortable intensity. Like you should sit here and there should be some stretch, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable. You shouldn't be wiggling about. Same thing. Just going to try and hinge forward. Go into a deep stretch. Come back out. We can think about when we're hinging forward, as we come down, we can think about trying to push this foot into the chair as a way of pushing ourselves out of that position. So we're building a little bit of strength as well. Again, 10 per side. And that 10-second pause on the last rep. So the reason we're working pigeon or external rotation at the hip is because when we slide out into that horse stance or that middle split position, we need active external rotation at the hip to be able to create space in that joint capsule. So working a little bit on it initially can help improve that position. 2 more here. So last one, 10 seconds, we're going to hold. Keep holding. Another 5 seconds. And you can come out of that one. We're just going to place this to one side again, and then we're going to pair this with a nice active position. Again, trying to open up the hips and try to work on engaging the glutes. And for that, we're going to use probably something you've seen before, which would be a Tailor pose position. So a Tailor pose position is when we're in this seated diamond open leg position on the floor. Instead of doing this in a seated position though, we're going to do it in a lying position. So what you're going to want for this one is some yoga blocks. And we're going to start lying on our back. We're going to pull our legs into a diamond. So the closer the legs are, the feet are to the hips, the kind of more range of motion is required. We're going to place those yoga blocks underneath the legs. but we're going to do it in a way that we can try and push our knees down and try to lift the hips up. So we're going to actively engage the glutes, we're going to lift, and we're going to relax. We're going to do 3 10-second holds. And after we've done that, we're going to remove the blocks, we're going to place our hands to try and apply a little bit of pressure, and we're going to do some full range of motion reps. So nice and simple. Make sure you got yourself set up nicely for this one. As I said, yoga blocks is a good amount. If you struggle to put this force into place in this lying position, then just let the feet go a little bit further away from you. That's going to make it a little bit less requirement in terms of that flexibility or that ability to generate force. So let's start. We're going to do 3 about 10-second holds. So make sure you can actively lift those hips off the ground. So 3, 2, 1, and lift. Come on. Drive those knees down into those yoga blocks. Really try to squeeze those glutes. Keep lifting, keep going. 2, 1, and relax. Now 5 seconds relaxation, then we're going to do 2 more. So again, I'm going to try and lift, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up, drive those knees down into those yoga blocks. The harder you can think about contracting this position, the better it's going to be long term. And relax. Again, another little 5 seconds rest. Okay, 1 last rep. So lift, drive those knees down. You probably can't see the gap. There is I've got probably about an inch off the ground that I'm lifting here. It's more than enough. 3, 2, 1. As I said, we're going to remove those yoga blocks, place them to the side so our legs are free to move. We're going to try and apply some force by pushing down with our hands so we resist the adductors. And then we're just going to try and pull the legs up and then pull them down towards the ground. Again, as we get into that bottom position, try to feel that same activation, that glute, trying to pull the knees down towards the ground. So let's do 6 to 8 of these. It's nice and slow, getting controlled, feeling out the entire range of the movement. So pulling the thighs in, resisting the hands, and then as you go down, using the glutes to pull further down. Awesome. So shake that off. That's our first pairing, developing that external rotation with a little bit of stretching and actively strengthening the glutes in that externally rotated position, in that open position, to try and encourage our legs and relax the adductors a bit as well. So take a short rest, and then we're going to go back. We're going to do another one of those 2 before we move into the actual side split drill. So let's grab that chair again, grab the elevated surface that you have. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do right leg again. So get yourself set up. Come and sink down into it. Again, depending on what position you got into last time, what you can try and think about here is if you try to push that leg back a little bit, it's going to make the intensity of the stretch a little bit greater. So again, we're going to do those 10 reps. So hinge as far forward as we can. Feel yourself trying to push with the knee down a little bit into the ground to try and push ourselves out of it. 10 reps, 10-second hold. Last one. So we're going to hold this last rep for 10 seconds. Keep trying to go as far forward as you can. Think about even trying to touch belly button to shin is a good goal to try and aim for. Keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Now we can swap sides. So left side forwards this time. Same thing again. Get ourselves nice and forward.
We're going to do that same thing. So sink the hips down, lean forward, and try to feel like you're going to press using that glute, using the knee into the chair or into the object that's elevating you. 10 reps again. Try and get that wiggle back of the back leg if you can do. Each rep, maybe try to feel like you're going to go a little bit deeper into that range of motion. I talked beforehand about how trying to get sort of belly button to that shin. Maybe you put a fist in the way. So, okay, can I touch belly button to the fist? Can I get 3 fingers? Can I get 2 fingers? Can I touch it? Nice little metrics just to focus on the target. All right, coming up to that last rep here. So last one, 10-second hold. Leaning far forward you can, pulling that hip back into the socket. Three, 2, 1. Nice, that's the last one of these. So if you've got a chair or whatever, you can put that to the side. And we can come back to our supine Tailor pose. So back again onto our back. If you started last time, if you had your feet a little bit further away from your hips, try to bring the feet a little bit closer. So we increase that requirement for range of motion. Get them as close as you can, but you can still maintain that lift of the hips. So again, 3 10-second max effort isometrics, trying to lift those hips as high as you can, driving those knees down and engaging the glutes, trying to hip thrust up, lift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a bit of a long one, I think, that time. 5 seconds relaxation before we jump into another one. Get ready to lift. Squeeze those glutes, thrust those hips forward. Drive those knees down, keep lifting. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. And relax. And we got one last one. Right, lift. Big effort, really try to squeeze those glutes, pull those knees down to the ground. 3, 2, 1. And relax. We can put those yoga blocks to the side, hands on the thighs. We're going to do 6 to 8 of those range of motion, nice and controlled, trying to resist throughout. So lifting up, and then using those glutes in the same way to try and pull those knees down towards the ground. 6 to 8, just nice, slow and controlled. Trying to just work through the biggest range of motion that you have. Five. Last one there. Nice. Okay, hopefully your hips are feeling a little bit looser and potentially the glutes are feeling a little bit more turned on, a little bit more active. We're now going to go into some actual side split work, and we're going to start that off by doing some horse stance slide outs, which is one of my favorite drills for the side split because it really helps understand the articulation of the hips in this position. So I'm actually going to ditch the mat because for me, the mat doesn't help here. What is most important almost with the side split is understanding friction on the surface. So we want a surface in which our legs can slide out comfortably. We don't want it to be too slippery because that creates that insecurity. That's going to actually make us restrict up because it's harder to hold. And equally, we don't want something where we're really like, on shoes on concrete sort of thing where we've got so much grip that we can't slide the legs out comfortably. It wants to be a nice in between. So for me, barefoot on laminate seems to work quite well. I think barefoot on carpet is also pretty acceptable. So I'm just going to get this out of the way. And we're going to start again. We're going to start in a horse stance position. So we want to go relatively wide with the legs, squat down. Again, if you're a little bit tighter, having a chair, having something to support yourself on a little bit higher up than the floor is quite nice in this instance. But personally for me, I'm fine just using the floor. Supporting mainly with the hands, we're just going to allow those legs just to begin to slide out. Trying to think about keeping that same knee position, so trying to externally rotate. Let them slide out as far as feels comfortable. We come maybe into like not quite our maximum range, but what feels like a comfortable range. And we're going to hold for a second. And then we're going to wiggle the feet back in and slide back into that horse stance position. So the main thing to think about is this horse stance and the side split should be roughly the same hip position. It should feel the same. We're going to try and feel like we're pulling the knees out, letting the legs slide. We need 5 of these in total, that one being 1. And then we're going to hold that last position for 10 seconds. So, gonna let those feet slide out, push the hips backwards, let them slide as far as feels comfortable, and come back up. We're looking for each time you make this slide out happen, we're gonna try and get a little bit more range of motion. It's 3. So on the 4th one, remember the weight should be, obviously in the feet, but we're gonna have quite a bit of weight in the hands here, supporting ourselves, making it comfortable. And then the last rep, we're going to slide out, we're going to hold that last position for 10 seconds. So keep pushing those hips backwards, slide down as far as feels comfortable. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. And now you hobble like an old man and shake it off. We're actually going to do another one of those, and that will be our testing round for the side split. But in the meantime, we're just going to do a little interset stretch here. Obviously, we've got a lot of X stretches where we're getting shortening of the glutes. We're abducting the legs. So we're just going to do one where we're doing the opposite, just as a little bit of an interset sort of stretch. So we're just going to lie down on the back. Just going to bring right leg over and just let it drop to one side. Very nice and simple, nothing particularly intense about this. We're just going to hold this for about 20 seconds, come around to the other side and do the same thing. If you want to, when we're in this position, you can also try to extend the leg. It's going to bring a little bit of a different stretch, but for me personally, I just like to get that little bit of rotation, a little bit of stretch across the lengthening of the glute, and then we can get back into it. Oftentimes the hips can feel not so fun after doing a lot of side split work, depending on your hip anatomy. So doing some stretching that is the opposite is actually quite nice. So we're going to swap sides now. So we're going to right leg straight, left leg comes over. Again, just get a little bit of rotation going on. Want to make sure we're doing some opposing stretching. And breathe it out. So, mentally prepare yourself for another round. We're going to do 5 slides again and then hold for 10 seconds on that last rep. And I'm going to use this final set as my testing set. So, while we did the video to begin with, video this one again, and have a look and see if it has changed at all. Right, get yourself set up, get yourself ready to go, and then we're gonna do those horse stance slide outs one last time. All right, so we're gonna bring ourselves up into that horse stance, squat down nice and deep into that middle split, support yourself nicely with the hands, feel comfortable, that's the main thing, and then let those feet lift out, push the hips backwards, and drop down into that side split. Again, we got 5 reps here, so don't feel like you need to push max range on the first rep. Feel like each one, you're gonna just progressively drop a little bit deeper. So do it in your own time. I'd say it takes about 10 seconds or so just to slide out, let those feet inch out. They don't have to be kept exactly forward. You can let them turn out a bit as well if that feels comfortable. It's 3 for me. 4th one. And then that 5th and final one. Again, I would encourage you not to push it. I would respect how you feel on the day and respect that maximum range of motion. Don't expect anything. Just see how it feels. And then 10-second hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh. Ow. Oh. Middle split, side split is never fun to train. Hopefully though, down is a little bit less than last time. Again, I'm just going to finish up with one of those interset stretches. So right leg comes up and over, drops across, and we can even pull, up into that top position as well. Really, we want to just get a little bit of stretch on that glute. So we're going to have a lot of closure at the SI joint and that glute when we're in side split. Let's just do the opposite of that position. So, and I think really where the leg is coming across the body is going to feel good in this instance. Another sort of 10 seconds here. And I'm just going to swap sides. So right leg goes straight, left leg comes up. I'm just going to let it drop to the side. Just sit here for a second. Three, 2, and 1. And that is basically the routine. So as always, this one you could do, especially those slide outs or even the first 2 exercises, we only did them for 2 rounds each. You can happily do 3 rounds each of those, pause the video, go back to it, and be more than enough a couple of times a week to see some progress with your side split. As always, if you found this video helpful, if it helped to improve your side splits maybe, if you compare those before and after photos, did you see a change? Did you see an improvement? Let me know in the comments section down below. Right next to it is also that like button if you want to support the channel. It really does help us out, helps us reach more people. And then right next to that is the subscribe button as well. If you want to join the Bodyweight Warrior tribe, don't miss out on any more future videos. But that's basically been it for this week, guys. I'll catch you in the next episode. Have a strong one.